Hello world, it is Friday, August 21st, 2020, and it was a beautiful morning this morning. Again, very cool, low humidity, very nice. I've got my hiking hat on because I was out mowing the lawn and watering our new bed in our front yard and watering the trees. And the hat helps keep the sun off my head and my face. But it's still a gorgeous day, but it's getting warm out there, and I understand it's going to be even warmer tomorrow and Sunday. So try to enjoy this cooler weather while you can. Today's devotion is Revive Us Again, written by Talitha Arnold. And Talitha bases the devotion upon Psalm 138, verse 7 in the King James Version. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. And Talitha writes, I don't often read, much less quote, the King James Version of the Bible. The language is too archaic, the images of God and human beings too exclusive, and sometimes the translations are simply wrong. In Acts 12:4, for example, the King James Version translates the word for Passover as Easter. What can you expect from a translation written by committee 500 years ago? Yet sometimes this translation hits the bullseye. In King James Psalm 138, the psalmist sings thanks to God for thy loving kindness and thy truth, for thy mercy that endureth forever, for having strengthened me with strength in my soul. Try saying that fast. Loving kindness, truth, mercy that endureth forever, being strengthened with strength in our souls. I need such words from 500 years ago. I also need the King James translation of verse 7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. The verse centers around the Hebrew kaya, a derivative of kai. Many modern English translations focus on the psalmist being kept alive or their life being preserved or kept safe. Yet I think the King James, thou wilt revive me, captures the core meaning of kaya, or re-life. Yes, having one's life saved, preserved, or kept safe is important, but the psalmist rejoices that even in the midst of trouble, God will re-life, also known as revive them. In the midst of a pandemic and the troubles of this time, I could use some reviving. Perhaps you could too. Maybe those old translations knew what they were doing after all. Talitha's prayer. In this time of trial, revive us again, O God. Amen. Yeah, I sometimes really like the poetry of the King James Version. But when I read it, I also read it with a little bit of salt, because I do know that the translations that those translators back in the 15th century, the documents they were using were not the oldest documents, and they weren't always being truest in their translation, in their desire to try to get it into the King James English. So while it may be very beautiful, sometimes it's not very accurate. But sometimes accuracy is not as important as the art, as the poetry, because it can really touch us. This coming for the September update, I am going to be touching a little on the pandemic again and pandemic fatigue. I think as many of us are feeling it. It's a little tiring. It's been going on quite a long time. But then again, in retrospect, some people have been putting up with some things for so much longer. It will eventually end. Our lives will go forward. Changed, perhaps, but they will go forward. And God will revive us in a new way, in a different way. So look for that, pray for that, and continue to resolve to make it through all this and to continue to be the church. Hope to talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.